MCAT 2017 Cram, Critical Analysis and Reasoning Skills. Flashcard Set 15.2, Utilitarianism Ethics. As you view the reading of this passage, you'll notice a few highlighted snippets of text. What I want you to do is garner meaning from these specific selections in order to answer the two reasoning beyond the text questions that follow after the passage. All right, so good luck and happy reading. Paragraph 1. Utilitarianism is a philosophical concept of politics and ethics. For the utilitarian, politics and ethics are interwoven into the science of moral duty. In other words, political philosophy and ethics are inseparable. A political action is valuable only insofar as it keeps in mind the ethical good of the people with which it is concerned. Consequently, the welfare of the people in general was the supreme consideration of the utilitarian philosopher. Paragraph 2. To bring about this welfare, two courses of action must be pursued simultaneously. First, all hindrances to the betterment of the people must be removed. Second, ideas and laws which will induce the betterment of the people must be promulgated. Promulgated meaning promote or make widely known. To accomplish these two outcomes, there is needed, obviously, an adequate knowledge of human nature. This knowledge, the utilitarian, says, includes a knowledge of the motives of human action and of the idea that I think they mean idea, IDEA, not ideal, that animates human beings. And in order that one may acquire this knowledge correctly, it is necessary that he seek the facts dispassionately. Dispassionately meaning not influenced by strong emotion, and scientifically through the mechanism of the senses. Superficial analysis should be discouraged. Wild flights of the imagination, discountenance. Discountenance meaning refuse to approve, and unverified assumptions discarded, for such mistaken methods produce only haphazard views of social life. Observation, experimentation, and sound generalizations are absolutely necessary to the utilitarian. Wishful thinking, random guesswork, and loose generalization must be studiously meaning marked by steady attention and effort, avoided. Utilitarian ethics, said ethicist William L. Davidson, is analytic, descriptive, and inductive. Inductive meaning inference of general laws from particular instances. Okay, so from like an observation, then you come up with some general law. Resting on ascertained facts, and its aim has reference to the right use of the facts so as to advance social progress and for the concrete purpose of improving the existing conditions of life. Ethical facts are of infinitely more importance to the utilitarian thinker than ethical theories, no matter how ideal they may be or what their source. Ideal is used correctly here in this instance. All right. Paragraph 3. At this point, the intuitional thinker takes issue with the utilitarian. For in denying the power of innate ideas, the utilitarian, by implication, has ignored the absolute, whether it be in the form of God, a principle, or an idea. I think they meant idea here, but oh well. But the utilitarian is not seriously alarmed by the seeming lack of an absolute in his philosophy, for he believes that if all the ascertainable data of life can be found, analyzed, and applied, the superstructure of truth will stand. Fourth, complete and unassailable. Unassailable meaning unable to be attacked. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free, might well be his motto. In the meantime, while the intuitional thinker elaborates webs from his inner being, the utilitarian seeks to know the nature of man, his character, his wants, his limitations, and his possibilities. Paragraph 4. The utilitarian is intellectual. Utilitarians believe, first, that pleasure and pain are the mainsprings of human action. Second, that the five senses give them a reasonably correct and complete account of the world around them. Third, that all relationships between things in the external world are comprehensible to the human mind. Fourth, that cause and effect are natural and not supernatural. And fifth, that ideas are not innate but acquired through experience and education. Utilitarianism as a mode of thinking is rational in its procedure, pragmatic in its attitude towards truth, scientific in its method, and skeptical in its consideration of conclusions. Occasionally, he mounts to sublime meaning of such excellence as to inspire awe, heights in his perceptions. At times he descends to aridity meaning barren and unproductive, and spiritual death, but at all times he keeps before himself one purpose, the scientific search of truth. Which of the following statements about killing people is most in line with utilitarian ethics, according to the author? Is it A, it is intrinsically wrong? Is it B, it diminishes society's overall welfare, so it should be forbidden? Is it C, it destroys the personal happiness of the victim, so it should be forbidden? Or is it D, it should be allowed as a punishment for harming others? Definitely press pause if you need to, and I'll give you a moment to think. If you're having difficulty answering, open up a second window to view the reading of the passage and search for the text support to select the correct answer choice. All right. So this reasoning beyond the text question is asking you to apply ideas mentioned in the passage to this new situation here in the question stem. And in addition, you have to understand the assumptions underlying the article and then assess how this new information in the answer choices shift the central thesis. Okay, so let's first start by, dissecting answer choice A. In paragraph 3, the author describes the utilitarian truth as something that is generated by, quote, the ascertainable data of life, and that utilitarians are not so concerned with the power of innate ideas, okay? So a utilitarian would not say that killing is morally wrong in some intrinsic sense, or make universal statements including words like always that ignore variable context, that determine its real impact. So that's why answer choice A is wrong. In paragraph 1, the author tells us that the primary goal of the utilitarian is to advance, quote, the welfare of the people in general. So a utilitarian, therefore, is concerned with the general welfare and not the welfare of specific individuals. So that's why answer choice C is incorrect as well. But it can be shown that killing is something that diminishes society's welfare, a utilitarian would find it immoral. Okay, so that's why answer choice B is correct, because it's about the welfare of the population at large. And finally, any form of punishment, whether killing or imprisonment, would only be acceptable to the utilitarian if it demonstrated effect was to improve the general well-being of society. And that's not indicated here in answer choice D. Okay, so that's why answer choice B is correct. It diminishes society's overall welfare, so it should be forbidden. Based on the passage, a utilitarian will always value A. Ethics over politics, B. Imagination to reason, C. Theory to actuality, or D. Statistics to anecdotes. So in this reasoning beyond the text question, you're being asked to apply ideas in the passage to the new situations in the answer choices, all right? And in order to select the correct answer choice, you basically have to assess how the new information shifts the central thesis or how it shifts ideas mentioned in the passage. So let's start by first discrediting answer choice B. In paragraph 2, the author explains how utilitarianism discourages, quote, superficial analysis and, quote, wild flights of the imagination. Okay, so no imagination here. This is wrong. Rather, quote, observation, experimentation, and sound generalization are absolutely necessary to the utilitarian. Wishful thinking, random guesswork, and loose generalizations must be studiously avoided. Okay, that ends that quote. And the second sentence of the first paragraph states that, quote, for the utilitarian, politics and ethics are interwoven into the science of moral duty. In other words, political philosophy and ethics are inseparable. Okay, so they would thus value ethics and politics equally rather than one over the other. That's why answer choice A is wrong. As for answer choice C, in paragraph 2, the author writes, quote, ethical facts are infinitely more important to the utilitarian thinker than ethical theory, so this is just not correct. There's no theory involved in their modus operandi, okay? And paragraph 4 describes utilitarianism as, quote, rational in its procedure, pragmatic meaning dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that's based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. So pragmatic in its attitude toward truth, scientific in its method, and skeptical in its consideration of conclusions. That ends that quote. So statistics is an analytical science of large data, whereas anecdotes are stories that don't meet the analytic, descriptive, and inductive standard of utilitarian ethics. All right, so this is why answer choice D is correct. A utilitarian will always value statistics to anecdotes, okay? All right,